Hello YouTube, I'm an atheist here. I wanted to talk about my reasons for being an atheist. I kept my religious faith up until I was probably about 17 years old. I was a fairly moderate Baptist. I would say that my religious falling, as it were, probably coincided with my discovery of my sexuality. I came out of the closet to myself when I was about 13 years old, went back in for about 3 or 4 years because it was kind of scary out there, and then came back out again when I was about 17. At that time, probably my largest religious crisis occurred. I was in a relationship with the girl that I went to school with. We'd been together for about 2 years at this point. We wound up being together for about 3 years. I knew I was gay when I got together with her, but I needed someone. I was terrified that somebody would find out, so I was literally looking for a beard at this point. I went to church a lot with my girlfriend, and then as pressure started to mount about sex, because if you're in a relationship with someone for 3 years, they're going to want you to have sex with them, strangely enough. And then eventually I had to tell her I was gay. And it was a terrible scene. Her mother was very understanding, and actually I lived there longer than she did, because she had moved out and I stayed, and her mother was very accepting and loving and wonderful and kind. And at that point I was lost. I was afraid. I really had deep thoughts about my religion, and I felt acutely abandoned by God. I was receiving two messages. I was receiving the message from outside that being homosexual was wrong and horrible and disgusting and vile. From inside I was receiving, yeah, okay, whatever, but that doesn't make me any less gay. I tried. I prayed. I prayed and I prayed and I prayed and I prayed. And I went to church and I did all the things. I even went to the point of doing spells and things like that because I thought that would change me. There was a very short period of time where I was suicidal about it because I couldn't be gay and be, a Christian. So, and when people hear this, they go, they always nod knowingly when I tell them, well, I was Christian until I came out of the closet, and they go, oh, yeah, okay, that makes sense. The devil got you. No, just the devil bullshit. What got me was the fact that the Bible said that being gay was wrong, and everything inside me said that it wasn't, and that I couldn't change it. I had to stand and say, something is wrong. One of these things is wrong. We can't all be right. I have to trust my inner feelings. And at that time I believed I had an inner relationship with Jesus. Jesus and I have a great relationship, and the Bible's wrong. There was a lot of other things about the Bible that didn't make sense. I mean, just think about the flood. Just think about Adam and Eve. These things don't make sense. How can you have two people have two kids that are both boys, mind you, and then populate the entire planet? That doesn't make sense. And the Bible doesn't speak anything about other families that existed. Even if Adam and Eve had other kids, and one of them was female, that's still still Cain, because Abel was killed. Cain sleeping with his sister. Doesn't make sense. None of it. So, yeah, and there's other logical inconsistencies that you can't fit all those animals into a boat. Fast forward a couple of years, and I didn't really approach religion very much. I mean, I always had this desire to approach it, but I just kind of never did. I stepped away from it. Well, it was the spiritual but not religious period. I still had a Jesus thing for a little while. And then as I thought about it and kind of dealt with the Bible more, I kind of dropped the Jesus thing too, because you know, if all of the rest of it just turned out to be crap, then Jesus is probably crap too. So I dumped the entire religion. I think Wicca was more of a power thing for me. I wanted to have some power over the world that I seemed very powerless in, and I think that's probably a pretty common reason for people to become Wiccan, because Wicca does have a bit of power, and you have the power to, at least you believe you have the power to change events and the world around you and alter hearts and minds and things like that. It's pretty hard to shrug off Christianity, which is what I did, and then still look at any other religion and not kind of shrug it off too. I just knew that somebody made all this stuff up. Shamanism just seemed like a natural kind of like, this feels good sort of religion. It still had the same, power control trip thing that Wicca did, but it was more flowy and natural and things like that. But again, I kind of went, yeah, but there are no spirit animals, and I don't see any spirit animals, and I'm not seeing a lot of evidence of these things happening. So I developed then my idea of all religions are true. And what makes them work is the amount of faith you have in them. Okay, if you were a Christian who believed you'd sinned irredeemably, then you would go to hell because that's what you believed would happen. And you would spend a lot of time in hell until you realized the true nature of the universe. And the true nature of the universe was you could make whatever you wanted. After you die, you became a spirit being who was capable of creating heaven in their own mind and whatever. It was, strangely enough, the movie What Dreams May Come, which came after I believed this, really mimicked what I believed. I mean, when you die, you go to a heaven of your own creation. Unless you feel like you are going to die. I mean, unless you feel like you're going to be in hell, and then you go to hell. But it's a hell of your own creation. I think I probably believed that for about 10 years. I couldn't believe in any of these religions anymore. And I wasn't really thinking about religion in general anymore. So I kind of felt like, I've lost my soul, and I've lost my spirituality, and I need to get it back. So I made a couple of half-hearted attempts back at Wicca again, and Shamanism again, and trying to find something that fit, and nothing did. And then I started going to school, and that was the nail in the coffin, was that somebody was able to provide me with the scientific basis of life and the way scientists look at things. And it seems like such a simple thing now when I look back at it. The scientific method is incredible. The hypothesis is God exists. You have to have something observable to run a test on. You have to have something. You could say, why does water make something wet? Well, you have something, and you take it and you put it in water, and it makes it wet. You can then say with absolute certainty that water will make this thing wet. You can't do that with God. There's no way of just saying that, distinguishing God from nothing, honestly. I mean, if you hold up nothing and you hold up God to me, I can't tell the difference. And because I can't tell the difference between nothing and God, then there's no God. So, in my mind, I became not only an atheist, but I became an atheist activist. Not because I want to make other people atheists, but because I want to help other people think. I guess that's my religious background and where things came from. If you have any questions, again, ask in the put them in the comments. Make me a video reply. Make sure you rate the video. I will eventually come up with a really catchy line to sign off with, but